Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You're doing great things. We're here to celebrate you. Okay. You are definitely an individual that I would say that you are a student. I know your background a little bit. I do want you to share with me though, because the purpose of this interview is basically to let you know that we understand, the hard work that you've put in to getting to this accolade awards, this Sending the Smoke Award, and we want to recognize you, let you know that as an academy. We want to ensure that everyone feels seen, everyone understand. I understand that most people are juggling life, and
Right.
that in of itself is quite challenging. Time management is like I said, juggling. It's stressful, and you're trying to build this business at the same time. We recognize that, and we understand that getting to this point, is a journey for you. So first and
Mhm.
foremost, want to congratulate you, but I do want to understand your experience and that you bring to your business, building your real estate investment business. What is your background, Linda?
Really a project manager
Hmm.
since 1988, really.
Okay. Yeah.
And prior to that, and I was a student in it, I was in industrial engineering.
Hmm.
And while I was in the engineering program, I also began to teach math. So I often tease that I was the only kid who went to college not to drink, but to actually study. So my sister said I was definitely arrested of a development when it came to learning how to drink.
Okay, that's
I was an
okay.
industrial engineer. I even interned a couple of years before I started teaching. I
Hmm.
interned at General Motors.
Hmm.
When I graduated, that was the Reagan years, and the market was dead. It was absolutely flat.
Hmm.
But I can say out of my 12 friends, I was the only
Hmm.
one who graduated with a job. I walked out of school and they wanted me to come to work like the next day. And I said, can I have my last 2 weeks of vacation? Because once I start
Please.
working, I don't get 3 months off.
Right.
I
So,
took 2 weeks and I went right to work, right to work.
yeah.
From there, I went into consulting. Um, Even then, I still kept training in my background. It's like I
Hmm.
was the project manager over the training portion of whatever system we were implementing, or if we were
Hmm.
making process improvement changes, I was training the people on how to do the new process or do the communications or to train their people
Right.
as they
Okay.
went forward. So I later found out from my grandmother that we have a lot of teachers and way back in our history. And I was kind of wondering
Wow.
nature versus nurture. What part of me is credited to my ancestry and what part of me
Hmm.
did I learn? Because even when I had team members and um, my last 25 years at UPS, even when I had team members and I trained them how to train other people,
Hmm.
I
Train the
always told
trainer,
them I
right?
was the scaredest person that you would ever know getting up in front of people.
Really?
I hid behind my mother's skirt at church just
Mm.
to sing a little song at
Hmm.
Easter or what have you. Um, I did give a speech class in high school, won a nice little $200 scholarship, but I mean, scared to pieces getting up in
Hmm.
front of people. And I remember the day that my professor came to me and my best friend, and we were two little Black girls
Hmm.
at school, and he said, I want you to teach because the students need to see other people like them who understand.
Right.
And he was one of those few white males who understood that people needed to see who it is that they were going to learn from.
So you were STEM long before it was an acronym.
I was Montessori before it was a method. I started school at 4. I turned
Hmm.
4 that August. I was in school that September.
Wow. Hmm.
So I was
So
already
you're well
ahead.
ahead, well ahead
And
of in terms of your level of, intelligence, your IQ.
and I
Yeah.
did not know what I knew until baccalaureate night at high school when I won all these awards. I didn't know that I was smart. In 7th grade, they started giving it was a handful of us, maybe 20, 24 students that They gave us an extra math book. So I had the 7th grade math book, the 8th grade math book, 7th
Mhm.
grade social studies, 8th grade social studies. I was allowed to take an art class that was unusual for other students. So I got to
Mm.
take drawing architecture, making clay pottery, just doing things that other kids didn't get to do, photography,
Mhm.
developing my own film back when you had film.
Wow. The red room, the
Yes,
development room,
exactly.
right? Right?
Yeah.
The negatives.
The negatives, hanging, all
Okay.
of that. Learning how to take pictures in the negative,
Mhm.
how to double impose pictures on top of each other.
Right.
So you had to think with your mind's eye what you wanted those two images
Right.
to look like. I was in a wonderful school system that advanced us, and then by 8th grade, I was taking 9th grade. By 11th grade, I was finished with the
In
high school
college.
curriculum.
Right, done.
And they didn't have AP courses, and they didn't have all
Whoa,
those
okay.
credits. So
Mhm.
this high school did have to determine, what are we going to do with these kids? And so they
Mhm.
started bringing in community college teachers to teach
Mhm.
us. I
Right.
took a law class. I took a government class. I was Speaker of the House. I was Tip O'Neill.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
how old I was.
Okay.
I was Tip O'Neill. We took a
Okay.
psychology class. We took speech classes.
Mhm.
They created stuff for us because there was no more curriculum. We had done it.
Right.
We had done it all.
And the
And
fact that your educators recognized that you guys were special, you were well advanced, and they kept you challenged and kept you, growing, so that you didn't just stop at the curriculum and when it was done, because you guys finished that curriculum and now what? But they continue
exactly,
to introduce new,
new topics.
areas
Yeah.
and topics so that you can continue to expand your education, your knowledge. Well, wow. So Miss IQ. I'm gonna call you Miss IQ. Oh, yeah, but it's all done in love. But I just want to
Yes.
let you know that I see you, I recognize you. So your background, you are a scholar first and foremost, as well as you're an instructor. You've got background in technology. Your passion is, would you say, training, and you
It is.
enjoy that,
I
right?
enjoy it.
Okay, so with those skill sets, you've been able to just transfer that knowledge, that intelligence over into real estate. How has that been for you so far? And how has the Billionaire Creator Academy been, that experience that you're gaining here? How is that we've been supportive of that learning for you?
I have always wanted to own land since 2004. I think I told you 2004, 2005, I did set up an LLC.
Hmm.
I did not get in with the right person
Hmm.
to properly teach me, pretty much abandoned me. And that was back in the days where the loans were being sold from bank to bank to bank. So I
Hmm.
ended up losing that property.
Hmm.
Didn't go back into it. I knew I didn't understand and I didn't know where to go.
Hmm.
So when, fast forward, so 2005 to 22, fast forward 18 years,
Hmm.
and I'm in Instagram and I see Mercedes, come to this Sunday night call. She is very much so, she's the person I wished I was interiorly, although
Hmm.
I'm very happy and very comfortable with. I'm the quiet storm is what I call myself, and
Uh-huh.
I even had one boss, one mentor who said, "When you get quiet, I pay attention,"
Hmm.
because she knows that I'm paying attention.
Right.
At that point, she's like, "If you stop talking, something's wrong or something's not being heard that you are hearing, and I
Mhm.
start paying attention to you because I know you're quiet."
Mhm.
She used to give me more responsibilities because she knew that I could hear the unspoken conversation.
Mhm.
So it was something in Mercedes' personality, but even more so, I heard the unspoken conversation. I heard that small voice inside of me that says, "This is it. This is
Mhm.
what you've been looking for." Even though I wasn't actively looking,
Uh-huh.
her message got through to me. And then by the time I did the Sunday night call, and I didn't get anything out of the participants, but I got it out of her that she knew
Mhm.
what she was talking about. And if people just don't know how to communicate, that's all.
Right.
That was the
Right.
teacher in me. Like they weren't telling me what I needed to know, but I knew the content was there. I knew Mercedes had the content. So
Right.
then I did. I sat on my membership for about 4 months. I had too much going on in life. Like you said, life happens. Come January, it's like, you know what? I got to do this. I invested in this. I got to do this. And I can tell you that first call, and it was with you. And I said, this is a teacher. And I got it. And I would ask you things from a teacher's perspective. And sometimes I was scared because that's why what I am, or I would message you directly, like, I don't even want to distract the students because I don't know what I don't know.
Mhm.
And that's why I would just message you, like, is this right? Is that right? Are you saying this? And I know
And
the
you were
one
right on. You were
and
right
the one
on.
I
Yeah.
remember the one time I talked to you, I actually spoke up in the class and I said, let me give it back to you. Let me give you what I heard because I know people hear different.
Mhm.
So let
Right.
me give you what I heard. And you were like, that's it. And I was like, okay, I got it. And then I think it was a month and a half later, and it was a repeat. It was the consistency. And I thanked you for that. It's hard to stay consistent from class to class. And you're the queen of staying consistent with that message. It's the same, even though we all have different scenarios, the
Mhm.
message was the technique, the process, the
Mhm.
tools, everything was consistent. And one day it was the smoke conversation. And I was like, oh, I got it. I finally got all the pieces. And I did. I wrote it down. It's still here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what you have to do.
Mhm.
And I wrote it down. I was
Mhm.
like, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how you prospect. This is how you send the smoke. This is how you comp and evaluate. And then you do the follow up. I
Mhm.
wrote it down. I
Right.
finally got it. It clicked.
Okay. Oh, wow. Wow, that's
And so
great.
you made a dream come true. And then
Oh,
you taught
boy.
me the train the trainer. You taught me the way that I even taught my team
Mhm.
members because they often ask, why did I care? Why did I communicate with them so well, so thoroughly, ask them for their understanding back? And I said, I tried to be to other people what I wanted somebody to be to me.
Mhm. So, Linda, would you say that if you didn't have the support of the Billionaire Creator Academy, you wouldn't have gotten to this point?
Absolutely. I
Mm,
wouldn't be here.
okay.
I wouldn't have $1 million property with a contract in my hands.
Yes.
I wouldn't
Right.
have that.
Right. Yeah. And that little shy girl, okay, that she's still there and
She's
deep
still
down
there.
inside. But like I tell you, when you were in this space, in this real estate investment space, you gotta stand up in your confidence and be that expert, be perceived as that expert. And I said, sometimes you got to pull down deep. But I remember saying in one class, I feel that there's somebody in here that's, shrinking back. It may have been you, it may be in others as well, but we need you to step out of that comfort zone, that, shyness, and become that assertive, confident, experienced real estate professional, because that's what that potential seller is looking for. They want somebody to tell them what's up. And you're
And
the expert
and
that's
that
doing it.
class, I
And
remember
she's
that
over here
class.
negotiating $1 million contracts.
I was in that class, and believe it or not, our side chat was, and I think I said, guys, I am so, and I put a lot of O's. I said, I am so comfortable in the back of the room. They're like, me too, me too. And I said, but we got to do this. We got to get out front. My professor made me teach,
Mm-hmm.
um, scared to pieces. But the thing that always made me confident is my knowledge. And if I
Mm-hmm.
know it, you can't shake me.
That's right. And that's confidence.
I'll have those butterflies,
Mm-hmm.
but what I know, I know.
Right.
And my mother said, "You put on your garment." She said, "Like the Lord told you to put on the garment of God." She said, "I don't care what situation you go to. You don't let anybody
Mm-hmm.
stare you down, talk you down, because you know what you know. They're calling you
Exactly.
in because you know." And she's like, "Don't." She
You're
said,
the
"You might be
expert.
nervous. Don't show it. Don't
That's
show it."
right.
And
You're
I
the
think you said
expert.
those same words. Don't
Yes.
show it.
Right.
You're the expert.
Exactly. So what would you say, if any, was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome in order to get to this point?
Me.
Okay. And that's being honest.
Yeah.
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 Pulling,
I was
pulling,
scared.
pulling
I was
yourself
scared of
out
that
out of
prior
that.
experience.
Yeah.
I was
Mm-hmm.
scared.
Right.
I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do know I'm a great student.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
started studying.
And I agree with that. You are a great student, and you definitely have shown me time and time again that you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about. When you come to class, you ask, intelligent questions. So And my role as a motivator, and like I said, I'm not here to lecture, right? I always say that. I'm here to
Mhm.
motivate you. I'm here to come out with my big flashlight and go down in those back rows and bring you out, put the
Absolutely.
spotlight on you, right? And
Absolutely.
I thank you for sharing that, because I mean that's, vulnerability to say that, I was the biggest hurdle because I was standing in my own way, because I wasn't as confident as I probably would have liked to feel. But just stepping out there and doing it, and then, just giving back what was put it into you and executing it. And that's the key. That's the key.
Executing. And I
Absolutely.
did have to get creative. I didn't have the finances to set up my
Mhm.
LLC. I didn't have the finances and I waited. February was a waste of time. I waited because I was like, well, I'll wait till I get my tax refund. I'll wait for this. I'll wait for that. I'll wait
Mhm.
for the other. And I could have been, and this month, 3 weeks ago, it was like, I'm not waiting anymore.
Could have been closing.
I could, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking now, you had all this time, you could have been closing back in February. But that's okay. I learned
Yeah,
my lesson
absolutely.
through
Absolutely.
money. I'll make
Right.
it up some other way
Absolutely.
that
For
I
sure.
stopped myself. I found a way, get started first as me, get
Hmm.
my LLC. All the other checks will go to my LLC, got my tax ID. I did all the stuff
Right.
I could do for free or low
Uh-huh.
and keep on going.
Exactly. And so if someone else was considering joining the Billionaire Creator Academy, what would you tell them, Linda?
Hurry, don't stop, hurry, get on board.
Hmm.
Education is something can never be taken away from you, and it works. It is lather, rinse, repeat.
Okay, I love it. Lather, rinse, repeat.
It is lather,
Absolutely.
rinse, repeat.
Right.
That's all it is. That's
S-
all it is. And I know
set it up, and let it run.
and let it run.
Let it run.
Let it
Okay.
run. And don't be reinventing the wheel. This work.
Right.
This work. I like that we find new tools, new
Hmm.
ways.
Of course. Add to your
But
resources.
it's still the same process. And
Yes.
and I used to
Yes.
teach that at UPS. I was a
Mm-hmm.
process improvement manager. And
Okay.
that's what I had to teach other people to think and see things the same way that I did.
Hmm.
And that's where I said some will, some won't. So what? It still works.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah,
And it still works. Some people can do it, some people can't, but it still works.
for
Get
sure.
out, hurry up and get out
Hmm.
there and do your thing.
For sure. And Linda, what would you say was the tool, the software that you found the most value in, that was most beneficial to you?
Prop stream.
Okay. For
After
sure.
prop stream, I don't know Mojo that well yet, but Vumber, I've been
Hmm.
able to just knock that out. And then I don't remember the class where we had the virtual address. I was feeling very uncomfortable with
Hmm.
my personal
Hmm.
address on it. And I found that and it was everything that was a concern to me was addressed.
Hmm.
And being a female, I didn't want my address out there. Bumber, being able to call people and have a record of it and I can hear
Hmm.
what I said and how I
Right.
spoke.
Uh-huh.
That's invaluable to get that feedback right away because it's
Right.
hard to hear yourself. It really is hard to hear
Hmm.
yourself
Yeah.
speaking, especially when they throw a crazy question at you. And I got one today too. Just before our 5 o'clock, I got a crazy question. I was like, okay, all right. It seems like they want to do my business. And it's like, no, that's what I do. You just
Hmm.
sell.
Right.
I do the rest.
They want to know what you know. Once again, they perceive that you're knowledgeable. You know what you're talking about. So it's like, how do I do what you're doing? Right.
Oh yeah, he tried to
Right.
upsell his house big time. Oh, it has this. I saw that in the listing. It has that. Oh,
Mhm.
yes, it's a beautiful deck. I did see that before. How are you gonna buy without seeing it? Because as I told you, I'm an investor. I'm gonna sell it to somebody else, and they will be there to
Mhm.
do their inspections, to do their due diligence.
Mhm.
But initially, we're gonna take a look at the photos and we're gonna take a look at our data and see that we're interested.
Mhm.
And so I'm
Absolutely.
interested. Well, I'm getting
There
ready to
you
go to a
go.
realtor. I said, well, will you take a bid from me before you have to pay all those realtor fees? Well, yes, I guess I'll take a bid. I'll always take a bid. Okay, send that over and by the morning.
Excellent. That's the way you overcome objections, right? Because the seller's going to always have, his thoughts, and that may be far-fetched even. but we got to be able to pivot and overcome the objections using the data, the market, and whatever, challenges that we're going to basically be educating them about, I am the solution that you're looking for, and doing it with confidence, which that's what you're doing. All right. So
Well, thank you.
lastly, Linda, did you use a VA, a virtual assistant at all?
I didn't have the money at the time, no, so I'm slow moving, like,
Okay.
I think you and I were talking about it before, and even my brother has observed, he's like, "You're burning the midnight oil," because I volunteer every day, Monday through Saturday, I volunteer from, like, 8 to 1 or 2 o'clock.
Hmm.
Usually, I'm physically exhausted, but then even if I come home and take a nap, I get up and I make my calls
Hmm.
for the
Right.
smoke.
Being
Like
consistent.
I told
Right.
you, about 15, 20, 30 a week, I make these calls. I made 8 today. So, make my calls, do some dinner, or clean up or what have you, take a hot bath and start all over again.
Right. Rinse and
Um,
repeat. Right.
I think lather, rinse, repeat. I think if I had had a VA, definitely it's absolutely my plan. They're gonna be making those 50 calls for me a day,
Hmm.
you know,
More. They
more
make
than that.
hundreds
Yeah.
of calls a day. Absolutely.
And get this smoke, get the email address from these people, get the
Hmm.
smoke out. We'll turn
Right.
it over overnight or definitely within 48 hours. It's gonna
Right.
be to you.
Hmm.
Um, and we move on, we just keep on moving, doing this train. I have every intention of being a multimillionaire with this business. It is absolutely my intention.
And it's absolutely doable. Absolutely. So, Linda, thank you so much. I appreciate your taking the
Thank you.
time, to share with me, your journey, which is unique to you. And the fact that you are implementing everything that you're learning here at the Academy. It makes me, feel like, it's gratifying to me, shall I say, when I can hear the feedback, that you are giving me as a student, one who is really dug in and is focused and moving your business forward. Understand that, you couldn't go as fast as someone else. Okay. Based on, where you were in terms of what you could afford to invest, you moved as quickly as you can, but the result is you got to a $1 million contract that, where your spread is pretty significant, right?
It's nice.
It's nice. It's very nice.
It's
And
very nice.
so we're going to, make sure we're supporting you every step of the way. Now, of course, the deal closing assist is available to you. If you need to bring, a coach in like myself to help you through that process, know that you can tap into that as well. Okay.
Okay. Yes,
All righty.
I
Thank you
will.
so much for taking time
Thank
out of your
you.
dinner schedule to
Thank
just
you
have a
for
brief
everything. Yeah, I baked
conversation.
the turkey and the dressings in the oven.
Are you serious? For real, for real? That's what we
For real,
have?
for real, for real.
Oh, shucks. I'm hungry.
Wish I could fly some to you.
Girl, that sounds delicious. Well, you enjoy your meal and look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing you in class. All righty.
Thank you, Miss
Okay.
Stephanie. Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome, Linda. Bye-bye. Have a great
Bye-bye.
one. Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that. Smash that like button if you haven't already. And don't forget to subscribe for all the real estate sauce so you can keep yourself up to date. Now let's make some money.